Let's talk about a topic that often comes up, the marriage of Aisha radiallahu anha to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First, it is very important to understand historical context. In Islam, marriage isn't based on a fixed number alone, which many people misunderstand and spread some misinformation about. Traditionally, three factors are considered: biological maturity, psychological readiness, and social norms of the time. Over 1400 years ago, societies around the world had very different standards than today. What we considered acceptable now wasn't viewed the same way back in the day. One key point: the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had so many opponents, so many enemies back in the day. He had so many opponents who tried to discredit him in every way possible. They called him a magician, they called him a poet, and worse. So many names. You take your pick. Yet, none of them criticized his marriage to Aisha radiallahu anha. Why? One may pose the question. Why? Because it wasn't seen unusual in that society back in the day, 1400 years ago. Also, looking at his life, when we look at his life as a whole, his first wife, Khadija radiallahu anha, was older than him. She was older than him, and most of his wives were widows or divorcees. Nobody can deny that. And Aisha radiallahu anha was the only one who was young. So basically, this does not reflect a pattern of someone seeking marriages with young women. Another important detail that I want to share with you guys is that the marriage contract between the Prophet ﷺ and Aisha radiallahu anha was made earlier, but the consummation happened years later, after she reached maturity. This aligned with the idea of readiness, not exploitation. Let's get that out the way. She lived for decades after the Prophet's death, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She became one of the greatest scholars in Islam. She narrated thousands of ahadith. She never spoke one negative word about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She never spoke negatively about the marriage. If she had experienced harm or abuse, or history likely would reflect that, but it doesn't. So why does this feel wrong today in our society? Why?